Wind Meets Starlight in London. Chapter 1 Night Breeze of the Marsh Town. Blacktown in northern England is a remote small town shrouded in constant fog and dampness. No neon glimmers of London, no bustling city traffic, only year-round heavy grey clouds, mottled old red brick houses, and a slow, murky river that traps generations of ordinary people in unchanging lives. For Alex Hunter, this barren land formed the sole backdrop of his 18 years, bitter, cold, yet faintly warm, bound by a single precious tie. Alex holds no clear memories of his parents. A fatal car accident took both of them when he was 2, robbing him of a complete family before he could understand loss. The only person left to stand beside him was his elderly grandmother, Evelyn Hunter. In her youth, she labored for decades at the town's textile mill, crippling her body with chronic rheumatism and recurring bronchitis that left her unable to work in old age. Grandmother and grandson survived on meager government welfare payments, crammed into a shabby public cottage under 40 square meters on the town's fringe. The walls peeled and flaked, the house leaked wind in winter and rain in summer, and creaky decades-old furniture made up their only shelter. Poverty was carved into Alex's bones. He never owned new clothes as a child. Every garment was second-hand donations from townsfolk, faded, ill-fitting, and out of date. His daily meals consisted of cheap wholemeal bread, boiled potatoes, and budget skim milk. On rare occasions when grandmother scraped together a few pence for an egg, it became their most extravagant treat. Most children in Blacktown were kind, yet teenage cruelty lingered. Young Alex was often mocked and shunned for his ragged clothes and empty pockets, forging a quiet, forbearing, resilient character over time. He understood better than anyone that he had no luxury to indulge whims or squander his youth. Studying was the only escape for many working-class children, yet that path was cut short for him. At 16, grandmother's rheumatism flared violently, leaving her unable to complete simple housework. Mounting medical bills pushed their already strained finances to breaking point. Watching her huddle on the bed, racked with coughing, staring at ever-pricier medicine boxes, Alex clenched his fists and handed in his school dropout form without hesitation. His head teacher begged him to stay, telling him he was bright enough to leave the town if he persisted. But Alex only shook his head, as carrying a maturity far beyond his age, unwavering. He could not let his ailing grandmother shoulder the burden of supporting them alone. He could not let sickness and poverty crush the only family he had left. His dream of studying could wait, but he would devote every ounce of his strength to protecting grandmother for the rest of her days. After dropping out, Alex wandered every street in town until he landed a job at Sunbao, the town's only chain community supermarket, one of Blacktown's few legitimate shops. The pay was low, the work tedious and exhausting, stocking shelves, manning the till, cleaning, hauling goods, handling every menial task single-handedly. He left home at 6 each dawn, long before sunrise, walking 40 minutes to clock in, and dragged his exhausted body back at 9 every night after closing, repeating the same grueling routine without a single day of slacking. The supermarket owner, a mild middle-aged man, recognized the boy's hardship. He sometimes sold Alex near-expiry yet intact bread and milk at a steep discount, and occasionally gave him fresh fruit and vegetables for free. Most co-workers were middle-aged townsfolk, who watched his quiet diligence and steadfast work with quiet tolerance. Alex cherished this job more than anything. It was the lifeline keeping him and grandmother alive, their only hope of escaping destitution. He never cut corners. Shelves were always perfectly aligned, cash registers never made errors, warehouse stock immaculately organized, and even forgotten corners scrubbed spotless. At 18, Alex was lean yet upright, with deep, clean eyes. Years of labor left thin calluses on his palms, yet his gaze remained clear and resolute, untempered by poverty, untainted by resentment forged from suffering. His world was small, confined to a rundown cottage, an elderly grandmother, and a tiny supermarket, yet it was also vast, filled with a burning dream: earn enough money, build a stable life, and take grandmother away from this barren town that had trapped them all their lives, to a bigger city where they could live warm, peaceful days. Life slipped by in monotonous repetition, a never-ending cycle of tedious routine. Most supermarket customers were familiar local residents, regular faces. Occasional unfamiliar students popped in to buy stationery and snacks, rushing in and out without leaving a trace in his dull existence until an early autumn afternoon, when the fog lifted, and rare sunlight pierced Blacktown's grey clouds, spilling over the supermarket glass doors and landing on the girl who stepped into his world. Leah Mason walked into Sunball Supermarket for the first time that afternoon. Like Alex, she was a child betrayed by fate, carrying unseen loneliness and hardship. Leah's parents split completely when she was 7, both remarried new partners, neither willing to take their unwanted daughter in, leaving her to live with her elderly retired gardener grandfather, Arthur Mason. Grandfather's pension was tiny, barely enough to feed the two of them and cover his constant medical costs. Unlike Alex, who had left school early to work, Leah clung fiercely to the faint light of education. Sharp, perceptive, and relentlessly hardworking, she topped her year at the town's secondary school, hailed by teachers as the student most likely to escape Blacktown. Fate had painted a great childhood for her, yet she never surrendered to hardship, remaining quiet, gentle, and unyielding in her efforts, pinning all her hopes on textbooks and the future ahead. That early autumn afternoon, Leah slipped into the supermarket during her short lunch break. She carried a frayed, yellowed canvas backpack, its edges worn thin, hurrying inside with quick steps. Slender, soft-featured, her pale blonde hair tied into a simple ponytail, she wore neat, clean school uniform, quiet and well-behaved. Her errand was straightforward, purchasing several fountain pens and notebooks, her fixed monthly expense. Alex was arranging stationery shelves, methodically lining up ballpoint pens and sticky notes, when his peripheral vision caught sight of the quiet girl. At first he paid her no mind, writing her off as just another student customer, but he soon noticed that after buying her stationery, she did not leave immediately. Instead, she lingered at the central shelf, her gaze fixed firmly on a brand-new backpack. It was a minimalist British-style rucksack, waterproof, durable, sleek and spacious, the highest quality, priciest student bag in the entire shop. Amid rows of cheap, flimsy school bags, it stood out strikingly. Alex had watched countless students admire it before. A handful of wealthier children bought it, while most kids like Leah only stared silently and turned away. Leah stood there motionless, her eyes soft with longing, fingertips brushing lightly against the glass display case without daring to touch the new bag, afraid of smudging its surface. Her old backpack had served her for years, its fabric split, shoulder straps slack, zipper jammed, long past usable condition, but she could never bring herself to replace it. She knew grandfather's meager pension barely covered food and medical bills, and she could not bear to add even a small burden to him. She gazed at it for several quiet minutes, longing hidden carefully behind restraint, before she sighed softly, pulled her gaze away, clutched her stationery tight, and turned to leave. That faint sigh was barely audible, yet it landed precisely in Alex's ears. In that moment, Alex saw his own reflection in the girl, the same powerlessness, the same premature self-restraint, the same quiet yearning tucked away in barren lives. Two children struggling at society's bottom, bound by an unspoken understanding no outsider could ever grasp. This bag's fabric is extremely hard-wearing, and the cut works perfectly for carrying heavy textbooks, great value for money. Alex spoke without thinking, his voice low and gentle, breaking the silence. Leah spun around, startled, staring at the boy behind the shelves. Sunlight streamed through the window, softening his usual cold detachment. His eyes were clean and sincere, no trace of mockery or condescension, only calm neutrality. For the first time, someone had seen her secret wish, Yet she felt no embarrassment, only an unexpected warmth unfurling inside her. I was just looking, Leah replied softly, her voice thin and gentle, tinged with adolescent shyness. Alex nodded, asking no follow-up questions, offering no empty pleasantries. It's fine. You can look as long as you like, no pressure to buy. That single sentence smoothed out Leah's awkwardness and unease. In this small, judgmental town, no one had ever paused to acknowledge a poor child's quiet desires, much less gently accept her inability to afford them. But this strange boy had done exactly that. In that instant, Blacktown's perpetually cold night breeze softened. Two lonely teenagers from the margins met beside the stationery shelf of a tiny supermarket, planting a seed destined to rewrite both their lives. A faint ray of light pierced the darkness, illuminating their desolate worlds for the very first time. Chapter 2: Faint light in each other's barren worlds. After their first encounter, Leah became a regular at Sunball supermarket. Unlike other casual, frequent shoppers, her visits followed a quiet, steady pattern, almost every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon during lunch break, staying briefly to buy stationery and basic daily supplies. Each time she came, she would pass by the British backpack, gazing at it for a moment, longing never fading yet always held firmly in check. Gradually, Alex learned her schedule and quietly memorized the soft, quiet girl. He never sought out unnecessary conversation or pried into her private life, yet every time she arrived, he tidied the stationery aisle meticulously, set the backpack straight, wiped smudges off the glass display case, ensuring her line of sight was always bright and uncluttered. His quiet kindness stretched on, wordless yet enduring. Leah picked up on his subtle care quickly. She noticed that whenever she lingered over the backpack, he would pause his work nearby, never disturbing or rushing her, granting her quiet space to dream. When crowds crowded the supermarket, he would unconsciously keep an eye on the aisle, shielding her from jostling strangers. The initial unfamiliarity melted away, and a silent, tacit understanding grew between them. Occasional eye contact brought soft nods and faint smiles. Few words passed between them, yet it was enough to warm their lonely days. For two people long accustomed to solitude, this casual companionship became the most precious gift of their monotonous lives. Their true friendship bloomed on a torrential late autumn evening. Violent rain lashed Blacktown, wind whipping sheets of water against the streets, the sky darkening as if night had fallen hours early. Leah passed the supermarket after school, trapped by the sudden downpour under the shop's covered porch, staring hopelessly at the wall of rain. She had no umbrella, grandfather was too unwell to trudge through the storm to fetch her, and the deluge showed no sign of letting up anytime soon. Alex had just finished stock-taking and stepped outside to sweep the entrance when he spotted the girl huddled under the awning. She had her textbooks to her chest, shoulders hunched, rain dampening her hair and school uniform cuffs, helplessness etched across her quiet face, heart-wrenching to behold. Without hesitation, he fetched his only black umbrella from the supermarket storage room and walked over. The rain's too heavy to stop anytime soon. Take this. Leah looked up and shook her head quickly. No, thank you. I'll wait until it lightens up, don't trouble yourself. She knew everyone in town lived hand to mouth. An umbrella was an essential household item, and she refused to take something he relied on. Alex pressed the umbrella into her palm, his tone calm yet unyielding. I live close by, I can run home in the rain. Your walk is far longer, don't catch a cold. Your grandfather can't look after you if you fall ill. His thoughtful consideration struck straight to Leah's heart. Her eyes stung with warmth as she stared at his sincere face, unable to refuse any longer. Thank you so much. I'll bring it back tomorrow. No rush, Alex smiled faintly. Rain blurred the street lamps, yet only made his eyes clearer and purer. That evening, Leah walked into the rain sheltered by his black umbrella. Glancing back, she saw him standing beneath the supermarket's warm yellow lights, lean and upright, watching her depart. In that moment, ripples stirred for the first time in Leah's quiet heart. Those who spend too long alone are easily moved by the smallest gestures of tenderness. The next afternoon, Leah arrived early specifically to return the umbrella, bringing a tin of homemade butter shortbread as a token of gratitude, wrapped simply and neatly, the most sincere offering she could afford. "Thank you again for yesterday. I baked this for you to try." Watching the delicate biscuits rest in his palms, warmth flooded Alex's chest. Most of his life had consisted of endless labor and quiet endurance. Few people had ever given him such pure, gentle kindness in return. He accepted them solemnly and thanked her softly. With few customers in the shop, they finally paused their hurried routines and chatted beside the window. No forced small talk, no awkward hesitation, their conversation unfolded naturally. It was here they learned each other's full stories. Alex spoke plainly of his childhood, his parents' early death, his chronically ill grandmother, the regret of dropping out of school, and the burden of supporting their household. He recounted his life without complaint or lament over unfair fate, merely stating the facts calmly, resilience etched into every feature. Leah listened, heart heavy with pity. She finally understood that the maturity and steadiness in his eyes were not innate, forged instead by layer upon layer of suffering. Then she spoke softly of her own past, parents abandoning her after their divorce, the cramped hardship of living with grandfather, her cautious devotion to studying, and the driving force behind her relentless hard work. Two children who had never known kindness from life saw identical loneliness and stubbornness in each other's stories. Matching tragic childhoods, shared struggles at society's bottom, equal premature self-sacrifice, identical burning hopes for the future, their exhaustion and despair, invisible to everyone else, were instantly understood by one another. "I've always wanted to leave this place," Leah whispered, gazing out at the fog-shrouded town streets. "Blacktown is too small, it traps so many people's lives. I want to study far away, see bigger cities, and take grandfather away from all this hardship." Alex stared at her gentle yet resolute profile and nodded firmly. "I feel the same. I want to earn enough money to take grandmother away somewhere warm and stable, where she can spend her old age in peace." On that sun-dappled afternoon, the two teenagers voiced their deepest, most private dreams for the first time. No grand slogans, no empty fantasies, only simple wishes: escape this barren hometown, protect their only family, and march toward a brighter future. It was also that day they made a secret, tender, burning promise to each other, locked away in their hearts. "Let's work hard together, and leave Blacktown side by side," Leah murmured, tiny sparks lighting her eyes. "Agreed," Alex replied, unshakable resolve in his gaze. "We'll strive together, live together, take our loved ones, and build our lives in London." London, a distant, glittering metropolis, the aspiration of every ordinary English person, the grandest hope within their barren lives. To teenagers trapped in the marsh town, London was an unattainable dream, a city of endless neon, endless opportunity, a place to break free from suffering and rewrite their lives anew. From then on, this quiet promise became the unshakable faith anchoring both of them. Days remained dull and grueling. Alex still rose before dawn and worked late into the night to scrape by. Leah still buried herself in textbooks and endless practice papers, yet their worlds were no longer empty wasteland. They became each other's sole light in the dark, gentle salvation amid exhaustion, the strength pushing them to persist through every hardship. Their interactions grew more frequent, their conversations deeper. Their brief afternoon meetings became the highlight of each day. Leah shared classroom lessons, school gossip, and struggles with exam revision. Alex told her about work trivialities and daily small moments, listening patiently to every worry she poured out. He reminded her to wrap up warm in cold weather, avoid late-night cramming, and care for her health. She urged him not to overwork himself, to eat regular meals and spare himself exhaustion. Every tiny, overlooked act of care was cherished by both. They spoke of everything, trusted one another completely, knew all each other's weaknesses and strengths, all their dreams and expectations. Their bond far surpassed ordinary friendship, a unique intimacy and understanding no outsider could intrude upon, yet they maintained a delicate, uncrossed boundary, lingering in that perfect space between friends and lovers. They knew all too well their circumstances. They had nothing to offer one another, only the courage to chase a distant future, and dared not act on romantic feelings for fear of becoming a burden to each other. They buried all tenderness and longing deep in their hearts, channeling every ounce of affection and hope into joint progress. Quiet companionship, mutual salvation, a two-way pursuit. This was the most touching chapter of their youth. Blacktown's gray clouds lingered year-round, yet starlight had already filled both teenagers' hearts. Chapter 3: The Birthday Backpack and Warmth in the Heart. Early winter winds swept cold across Blacktown, stripping every tree bare, blanketing the town in bleak desolation. Yet for Alex and Leah, this winter carried unusual warmth. Their companionship softened the long cold months and filled tedious days with hope. 2 months had passed since they met and grew close, a short span, yet enough for two lonely souls to connect deeply, becoming irreplaceable parts of each other's lives. Leah's birthday fell in late November, an ordinary, unremarkable winter day. She had never celebrated a proper birthday growing up. After her parents split, no one had ever given her birthday festivities. Grandfather, advanced in years, could never remember the exact date, and the yearly celebration amounted to nothing more than a bowl of hot soup and a simple well-wish, her only ritual. She had long grown accustomed to quiet birthdays, never daring to hope for gifts or surprises. But Alex had memorized her birthday without fail. Leah had mentioned the date casually in passing conversation, and he had stored it away in his mind, never forgetting. For 2 months, he had watched her pause again and again to stare at the backpack she adored, watching her tattered old bed fall further into disrepair as she struggled to make do. He had quietly resolved to gift her this most precious present on her birthday. The backpack carried a steep price tag, equivalent to 3 full days of Alex's wages. For a boy scraping every penny together to pay grandmother's medical bills and cover household expenses, it was a substantial sum. Yet he did not hesitate for a second. Her quiet longing deserved every bit of sacrifice he could offer. To afford the gift, Alex cut every possible expense for weeks on end. He eliminated his only small luxury meal, eating even plainer food each day. He volunteered for overtime shifts during his rest hours, sorting stock and completing inventory for extra overtime pay. For a full month, he saved every spare penny carefully, hoarding his wages bit by bit to craft a one-of-a-kind birthday surprise for Leah. On the afternoon of her birthday, rare sunlight broke through thick cloud cover, spilling soft light over the supermarket windows. Leah arrived right on schedule to buy stationery as usual, her features gentle and quiet, a faint, unnoticeable melancholy lingering in her eyes. She expected no well wishes, no surprises, prepared to pass the day as just another ordinary stretch of time. She wandered to the stationery aisle as always, her gaze landing on the familiar backpack for a fleeting moment before she turned to leave. Just then, Alex called her name softly. "Leah, wait a moment." Leah halted and glanced back, confusion flickering across her face. Alex retrieved a brand new bag from behind the British-style backpack she had admired countless times, neatly wrapped in packaging. He walked slowly toward her and held it out gently, his eyes soft and sincere. "Happy birthday, Leah. This is for you." Leah froze completely. She stared blankly at the brand new bag, then at the boy's earnest, tender face, her mind going blank as shock, surprise, gratitude, and sorrow surged all at once through her chest. She had never imagined anyone would hold onto her casual likes and silent yearnings, willing to exhaust their own resources to fulfill her tiny wish. At 18 years old, This was the first proper birthday gift she had ever received, the first time someone had valued her enough to cherish her quiet desires. "No. I can't accept this, Alex. It's far too expensive." Leah waved her hands frantically, eyes instantly glistening, her voice trembling faintly. "This bag costs so much, and you worked so hard to support your grandmother. I can't take something this costly." She understood his situation far too well, knew every penny he earned through dawn-to-dusk labor went to feeding them both and paying grandmother's constant medical fees. She could not bear to accept a gift bought at the cost of his own sacrifice. Alex did not withdraw his outstretched hands, holding the backpack steady before her, his tone gentle yet resolute. "It's not expensive, and it was no trouble at all. This birthday gift comes straight from my heart. You deserve nice things, don't feel indebted to me. I've seen you linger here every time, staring at it for ages." He soothed her as tears brimmed her eyes. "We both struggle through hard lives. If there's something you love, you ought to own it. This bag will carry your textbooks well, help you study harder, and bring you closer to your dream of London." Those simple words, soft yet powerful, crumbled every last ounce of restraint holding Leah's emotions back. Tears streamed silently down her pale cheeks, not tears of sadness, but warm tears of being seen, cherished, and loved wholeheartedly. While everyone else only saw her obedient, studious exterior, only Alex saw the quiet longing hidden beneath her strength, the subtle insecurity and regret she kept locked away, and moved to fulfill her wish with quiet devotion. "Thank you, Alex." Leah lifted a hand to wipe her tears, her eyes glistening yet her smile bright and warm. "This is the best gift I have ever received in my entire life." She took the backpack carefully, her fingertips brushing its sturdy new fabric, warmth flooding her chest. This gift meant far more than a bag. It stood for a heavy promise, tender mutual affection, and the brightest light amid a dark life. "Study hard." Alex gazed at her, hope shining in his eyes. "You're brilliant. You will escape this town and attend university in London. I'll always stand beside you, supporting you every step of the way." "I will." Leah nodded firmly, unwavering resolve in her expression. "We made a promise to each other. We'll strive together, move to London, and give our grandparents better lives. I won't break my word." That afternoon, the small supermarket stationery aisle brimmed with soft warmth. The two teenagers stood side by side in the sunlight, renewing their quiet vow to each other. No grand declarations, only quiet, unspoken determination. They would hold fast to their light, cling to their dreams, endure every hardship and poverty, and march toward distant, glittering London. From that day forward, Leah carried the new backpack to school every single day. Lightweight and durable, it accompanied her through countless late-night revision sessions, witnessing every ounce of her hard work and perseverance. Whenever exhaustion threatened to overwhelm her, a single glance at the bag reminded her of the gentle, resilient boy and their shared promise, reigniting her courage to press onward. For Alex, seeing her walk with the new backpack, her features bright and radiant, made every sacrifice entirely worthwhile. He continued to work diligently, save money quietly, and better himself, refusing to betray their promise or their bright future. Their bond deepened into effortless, unbroken harmony, sharing every thought and spending every spare moment together. Morning greetings, evening goodnights, comfort during fatigue, encouragement through confusion filled their monotonous days. They strolled beside the town river during free afternoons, chatting about future hopes, exchanged late-night messages detailing trivial moments of daily life, comforted each other through low spirits and self-doubt. The town's wind remained cold, their lives still impoverished, yet their worlds were no longer empty wasteland. They were each other's salvation in despair, warmth amid the years, and unshakable resolve on the road toward their dreams. Their relationship, more than friends yet less than lovers, remained pure, gentle, and enduring, the most precious, unforgettable memory of their youth. Chapter 4. Standing side by side through cold nights, persevering amid hardship. Winter shortened days and lengthened nights in Blacktown, bitter cold clinging to every corner. Dawn broke pitch black, and dusk fell by 4 o'clock, heavy fog shrouding the barren town in oppressive gloom. For Alex and Leah, this winter stretched long and grueling, yet their companionship kept them steady and warm. They raced forward along their separate paths, supporting each other through countless difficult nights. Alex's days remained consumed by work and family, endless tedious labor monotonous and draining. The supermarket saw surging foot traffic over the holiday season, doubling stock-taking, shelf-stocking, cashier, and hauling duties. He labored from dawn till midnight, his hands perpetually red and numb from the cold, thick calluses coating his fingertips from constant lifting, thin cuts left by cardboard boxes dotting his skin. Yet he never uttered a single complaint, maintaining unwavering diligence and dedication. Tasks other workers rushed through he double-checked and refined, breaks others took to rest he spent scrubbing forgotten corners and organizing inventory. The owner noticed his steadfast reliability, showering him with private praise, entrusting him with critical stock-taking and client liaison work, slowly nurturing his capabilities. Beyond grueling labor, he tended to grandmother's daily needs without pause. Frigid winter weather triggered violent flare-ups of her rheumatism and bronchitis, leaving her coughing through the night, joints throbbing too painfully to sleep soundly. Every evening after finishing work, Alex returned home exhausted yet immediately boiled water, brewed medicine, and applied hot compresses to her aching joints, sitting vigil by her bedside through sleepless nights. Several times, grandmother's condition worsened suddenly struggling to breathe, burning with fever. Alex carried her on his back through the dark night to the town's private clinic, covering medical fees and staying up all night to watch over her. Most of his meager wages vanished into medicine and household costs, yet he continued to scrimp for himself, wearing the same faded clothes year after year, surviving on plain, simple meals. Layer upon layer of hardship weighed down the 18-year-old boy, yet he never broke. Light lingered in his eyes, hope anchored in his heart. Every thought of his promise with Leah, of their future in London, of grandmother's peaceful old age melted away all weariness and sorrow, fueling his drive to keep moving forward. Leah faced her own struggles and anxieties. Senior 3 academic pressure mounted relentlessly, university entrance exams drawing ever closer, endless practice papers, textbook recitation, and mock examinations leaving her gasping for breath. Naturally bright, she never rested on her talent, pushing herself harder than anyone else. While her peers relaxed and entertained themselves, she buried herself in review and error correction, while others slept early. Her desk lamp burned late into the night as she delved deeper into her studies. Her target was crystal clear, the English literature program at the University of Nottingham London campus, one of England's top literary schools, with extremely high entry standards and low acceptance rates. For a town girl with no family connections, admission seemed nearly impossible. Yet Leah refused to back down. She knew this was her only path out of town, toward a future where she could care for grandfather and fulfill her shared promise with Alex. Grandfather's health declined steadily, chronic illnesses requiring constant medication. The weight of household finances and daily stress pressed heavy on Leah's heart. She balanced grueling exam preparation with cooking, cleaning, and all housework for her grandfather, never allowing herself a moment of slack. Countless late nights, when exhaustion and exam pressure overwhelmed her, she sank into confusion and anxiety, afraid all her hard work would amount to nothing, afraid she would fail grandfather's expectations, afraid she could never keep her promise to Alex. Yet every time this despair crept in, she glanced at the new backpack by her desk, thought of the quiet, resilient Bob, and their vow to move to London together, dissolving all anxiety and rekindling burning courage. Their companionship was never grand or dramatic, only quiet, sustained support. By day they pursued their separate goals. Alex worked tirelessly to build a living. Leah buried herself in textbooks to chase admission. In rare free hours after dark, they exchange messages, sharing snippets of their days, soothing each other's fatigue, and urging one another to persist. Spend all day counting stock today, utterly worn out, but thinking about taking you and grandmother to London someday makes every ache fade away. I scored higher in today's mock exam, one step closer to Nottingham. I'll keep pushing, we'll fulfill our promise soon. Short, trivial updates, gentle comforting encouragement, this became their warmest solace on cold nights. They understood each other's every hardship, grieved each other's sacrifices, quietly standing as one another's sturdiest support system when no one else saw their struggles. Quiet weekend afternoons were their rare chance to spend time alone, free from heavy work and tense studying. They strolled slowly beside the town river, chatting about future dreams. Leah described London's scenery, university lecture halls, literature coursework, and her ambition to become a university teacher someday. Alex listened carefully, storing every word in his mind, speaking of his own plans to build a career in retail in London and secure a stable life for their families. Time and again they painted a picture of their future, soft morning fog drifting over London streets, elegant bookshops and storefronts lining roads, warm houses housing their grandparents, free from the town's poverty and bitter winters, able to walk hand in hand year after year. This distant vision sustained them through every hardship. Most peers their age resigned themselves to fate, dropping out early to work and marry, trapped forever within the town's limits. Only these two children from society's lowest rungs clung to wild hope and each other, stubbornly determined to break fate's chains and march toward their own distant horizons. A heavy snow-blanketed Blacktown in the coldest depths of winter, ice-coating roads, howling winds, plummeting temperatures. Grandmother's health deteriorated drastically overnight, violent coughing and chest tightness leaving her in critical condition. Alex carried her on his back through the snowstorm to the clinic late at night, wind and rain soaking his hair and clothes, icy slippery roads slowing his steps as he trudged forward without pause. The town lay empty in the midnight hour, only the howl of the wind breaking silence. Just as exhaustion threatened to overwhelm him, his phone buzzed with a message from Leah. I just finished my revision and saw the snow outside. Rest early tonight, wrap up warm, we'll keep pushing, better days lie ahead. That single short message melted all the cold and fatigue clinging to Alex's body. He stared at her gentle words on the screen, glanced down at grandmother resting weakly against his chest, and his resolve strengthened tenfold. He typed a reply, don't worry. Better days will come for us both. Hold on just a little longer, and we'll leave this place behind. That night, wind and snow raged, the cold night stretching endless, yet starlight burned bright in both teenagers' hearts. They persevered through hardship, marched forward through darkness, opposing unfair fate with their small frames, sustaining each other through their hardest days with quiet tenderness. All quiet endurance, all sweat and sacrifice, laid the groundwork for future bloom. Cold nights would eventually fade, warm sunlight would arrive, and the London starlight they dreamed of waited just beyond the horizon. Chapter 5 First Light of Dawn, Prelude to London. Winter melted into spring, ice and snow falling, Blacktown's perpetual fog lifting at last, rare warm sunlight spilling over every street, tender green shoots pushing through bare branches across town, breathing new life into the desolate landscape. For Alex and Leah, after a full winter of hardship and quiet endurance, their lives finally caught the first glimmers of dawn. 1 full year had passed since they met and swore their London vow. Over those 12 months, they grew steadily amid poverty, each pushing forward alone yet redeeming one another mutually, never slacking, never surrendering. Leah buried herself in books and exam papers day and night, her grades consistently topping the year, firmly holding the qualifications needed to apply for Nottingham University's literature program. Alex labored with unwavering diligence at his job, refining his skills, accumulating experience, and tempering his character, never wasting a single moment. Spring winds blew mild and soft, bringing the final curtain of university entrance examinations. After months of intensive preparation, Leah stepped into the exam hall calm and composed, shedding all anxiety and timidity, carrying a year's hard-won discipline, her promise with Alex, and her desire to care for grandfather as she wrote every answer with full effort. The day examinations ended, sunlight shone bright, breezes gentle. Leah stepped out of the exam hall and exhaled deeply, a full year's pressure and exhaustion melting away instantly. She headed straight to Sunbao supermarket to find Alex at work. The boy remained lean and upright, clad in clean staff uniform, sorting shelves carefully, his features steady and gentle as ever. When he spotted Leah approaching, he paused his work at once, soft warmth lighting his eyes. All finished? Yes, all done, Leah nodded hard, bright, radiant smile spreading across her face. I gave it everything I have, now we wait for results. I have complete faith in you, Alex's tone unshakably certain, unreserved trust shining in his gaze. Every ounce of your hard work will be rewarded. You will get in. No empty comfort, no hollow well wishes, only unwavering belief. For a full year, he had watched her stay up late revising, persist through every hardship, shoulder every burden. He understood better than anyone that this soft, resilient girl deserved every good thing life could offer. The waiting period for exam results stretched gentle and slow. Leah relaxed her tightly wound nerves, occasionally helping grandfather tend his garden and complete housework, spending spare time at the supermarket beside Alex, watching him work and wandering the streets to chat. The relentless tension of the past year finally eased, days calm and peaceful. Meanwhile, Alex received the first turning point of his life during this stretch of time. For a full year, his meticulous, responsible work ethic had not escaped the supermarket owner's notice. Thorough, careful, skilled at inventory management, staff coordination, and customer service, he handled even the most trivial tasks to perfection, demonstrating a sense of accountability and leadership far beyond average employees. Sunbao's brand planned to expand into London that year, opening multiple new chain stores and seeking loyal, hardworking, capable long-term staff to serve as new store managers. The owner's first thought was Alex. Everyone assumed this school dropout boy from the small town would spend his whole life stuck working at Blacktown's tiny supermarket, going nowhere fast, yet fate handed him a precious opportunity. The owner pulled him aside to explain the London store expansion plans, offering him an exceptional promotion, manager of the new London branch, tasked with full store preparation, operation, and administration. This unexpected chance shook Alex to his core. It meant far more than a promotion and doubled wages. It was his ticket to London, the perfect opportunity to fulfill their shared promise, a chance to rewrite his fate earned through a full year of unceasing diligence and perseverance. He agreed without the slightest hesitation. Every quiet sacrifice, every hour of grueling labor, every day of stubborn endurance had finally borne fruit. He could now rely on his own hard work to escape the barren town, march toward the London they both dreamed of, bringing their shared vision one massive step closer. "I'm moving to London," Alex told Leah as they strolled the riverbank at dusk, barely containing his joy and resolve. "The company promoted me to manager of their new London store. Once preparation wraps up, I'll move grandmother there to live." Tears glistened in Leah's eyes, bright light flooding her gaze, pure joy and pride surging through her. No one understood better than her how hard-won this opportunity was, earned through endless dawn-to-dusk labor and unwavering dedication, a reward for surviving every hardship and clinging to their dream. "That's wonderful news, Alex, truly wonderful," Leah's voice trembled with emotion, overflowing with pride for him. "You deserve every bit of this. None of your hard work has gone unnoticed." A full year of quiet striving, mutual perseverance, their dream finally taking shape. He had earned his entry pass to London through grit and labor, securing stable footing for their shared future. She waited only for exam results to gain admission to London's prestigious university. A few days later, official admission results were released. When Leah opened the webpage and read the words admitted to University of Nottingham, literature program, she froze completely before hot tears spilled down her cheeks. Countless late nights buried in revision, endless moments of overwhelming pressure, every hour of gritted persistence, all hardship and struggle were vindicated in that instant. She had succeeded. With outstanding exam scores, she earned admission to London's top-tier University of Nottingham literature program, the only graduate from her town accepted to a prestigious university, shattering the fate destined for town children and claiming her own ticket to London, a chance to rebuild her life. Without delay, she raced to the supermarket to share the good news with Alex. The boy was organizing shelves when he heard her announcement, lifting his head sharply, starlight flooding his eyes, warm and brilliant. He stared at the girl crying happy tears, a soft smile tugging at his lips, overflowing with quiet pride and delight. "I told you you'd make it," Alex whispered, his tone gentle and unwavering. "We did it." Leah smiled through her tears, lifting her gaze to meet his, starlight and hope shining in her eyes. "Our promise of London is finally coming true." The quiet vow whispered between two teenagers on a rainy afternoon a year prior, after countless days of perseverance and shared striving, had rooted itself and bloomed into dawn. She had gained entry to London's elite university, ready to bring grandfather to the bustling metropolis and start a new life. He had been promoted to London store manager, able to lead grandmother away from the barren town and settle in new territory. They could finally leave Blacktown's grey clouds and poverty far behind, escape all hardship and scarcity, and travel to the glittering London city they had imagined for years, stepping into brand new lives of their own making. Spring breezes brushed soft, sweeping away every trace of past suffering and gloom. The two teenagers stood side by side beneath bright sunlight, gazing toward the clear distant sky, burning hope filling their eyes. Every past scarcity, loneliness, exhaustion, and struggle had become the foundation of their growth. No longer lonely children trapped in the town's margins, wandering alone through darkness, they had rewritten their destinies through their own hard work, traveled toward distant horizons, their separate faint lights merging into warm sunlight, illuminating every path stretching forward. London's neon glow and starlight waited for these two brave, resilient teenagers bound by mutual devotion. Their brand new life officially began here. Chapter 6: First arrival in London, intertwined mortal life and hope. Summer winds swept across England, chasing away Blacktown's year-round fog and escorting the two teenagers toward the London they had dreamed of endlessly. The day they left town dawned bright, mild breezes, one of the clearest, sunniest days the town had seen in years. Alex packed all his belongings in advance, a handful of simple clothes, grandmother's regular medicine, old possessions that had accompanied grandmother and grandson for years, their entire worldly goods. Leah's luggage held textbooks and clothing for university, with the well-loved British backpack as her most precious possession, carrying the boys' tenderness and their shared promise all the way south. Two modest private cars carried the two elders and the two young dreamers, rolling slowly away from Blacktown. Familiar red brick houses, murky river, and hazy fog receded and vanished from the window, leaving 18 years of scarcity and hardship, midnight toil and destitution, loneliness and quiet struggle far behind them. Alex held grandmother's hand, Leah sat close beside grandfather, both elders' eyes held quiet anxiety mixed with hope for a new life, never imagining they would spend their old age in a sprawling metropolis, building a brand new existence. Traveling south, the landscape grew richer and greener, barren wilderness shifted to lush meadows, low cottages gave way to layered buildings, murky grey skies cleared to bright transparency. When London's skyline slowly came into view, tall skyscrapers, orderly streets, steady traffic, abundant roadside greenery, vintage architecture woven alongside modern towers, soft fog wrapping the city's texture without the town's oppressive bleakness. Only bustling gentle coexistence. Both teenagers leaned toward the windows, blazing light filling their eyes. In that moment, every day of imagining their future became tangible reality. Upon arriving in London, they had planned every detail well in advance. Thanks to his manager position, Alex qualified for staff housing provided by the company, a spacious, bright apartment with full amenities, more than enough room for him and grandmother to live comfortably. Located in a quiet residential district on London's outskirts, far from downtown chaos, calm and livable, perfect for grandmother's health and recovery. Leah moved into faculty accommodation at the University of Nottingham, a small, cozy apartment only 10 minutes walk from campus, convenient for daily classes and ideal for caring for grandfather. The two residences sat merely 2 kilometers apart, close enough to allow constant companionship. The first weeks in London were a period of fresh adjustment and adaptation. For the four of them, raised deep in the small town, every detail of the metropolis felt unfamiliar and new. Grandmother struggled with the city's fast pace, unfamiliar smart technology, and heavy traffic, often sitting by the window staring quietly at strange streets, unease lingering in her heart. Grandfather, accustomed to the town's quiet calm all his life, felt awkward and constrained amid London's constant bustle. Alex and Leah divided all trivial chores without needing to discuss it, gently soothing the elders' unease. They taught the elderly to operate smart access control and household appliances step by step, walking them through neighborhood streets during spare time, exploring parks, supermarkets, and city sights bit by bit to ease their unfamiliarity and tension. Within half a month, the two elders gradually adapted to London life, their features softening, smiles growing more frequent, finally finding steady belonging in this foreign city. Once their family members were settled, the two embarked on their separate new journeys with full dedication. Alex threw himself wholeheartedly into preparing the new London store, far more complex and stressful than the trivial work of the town supermarket. Site selection, staff recruitment, employee training, goods liaison, market research, event planning, countless tasks weighing on his shoulders, keeping him busy from dawn until midnight with barely a free moment. Yet he never hesitated to retreat, retaining his relentless diligence and devotion. A lifetime of scraping by at society's bottom granted him a deeper appreciation for this opportunity than anyone else. No prestigious university degree, no family connections, only steadfastness, resilience, meticulousness, and accountability to rely on. He polished details others staff brushed off, tackled challenges others feared, stayed up late researching operational knowledge and studying industry experience when gaps arose, communicated patiently and sincerely to build team cohesion when lacking management experience. The owner visited remotely to inspect progress repeatedly, impressed by his execution and sense of responsibility. The store layout was logical and neat, goods arranged attractively, staff disciplined and professional, far exceeding the standard of other newly opened branches. Everyone marveled at the young town manager, so young yet possessing maturity and vision beyond his years. Meanwhile, Leah began her university studies in full swing. The University of Nottingham fostered a free, rich academic atmosphere, drawing outstanding students from across the country, a stark contrast to the narrow, closed environment of the town secondary school. Lecture halls opened wide, vast literary knowledge unfolded, countless academic seminars, club activities, and literary discussions flourished. Fresh to the elite university, Leah refused to slack off for a single moment, maintaining her customary tireless diligence. She approached every class with full attention, delving deep into literary expertise, reading classic works, accumulating academic materials, participating actively in academic discussions, and consulting professional tutors humbly. Though raised in a small town, she carried no trace of inferiority or timidity. Past hardship forged soft yet unyielding inner strength, allowing her to stand firm and progress steadily amid a cohort of talented peers. Tutors held her sharp insight and relentless hard work in high regard, offering regular professional guidance and mapping out her academic path. Even amid busy schedules, their companionship never faltered. Though each rushed along their own paths, they preserved their gentle bond. Early mornings, Alex rose early to prepare warm breakfast, settle grandmother's affairs, then head to the shop. Leah woke promptly to study and care for grandfather's daily needs. During short afternoon free time, they met at neighborhood cafes for brief chats, sharing updates from work and school, troubles and victories alike. After busy days ended, they strolled London's streets side by side, soft evening breezes carrying neon glow, streetlights stretching their too long silhouettes, quiet and soothing. They gazed at the sea of city lights, recalling Blacktown's pitch-black cold nights and their quiet old promise, hearts swelling with gratitude and relief. All hardship endured, all sacrifice made, all perseverance sustained had culminated in this present peace and radiance. The adjustments and rushing of early London life left them exhausted yet fulfilled, busy yet comforting. They forged forward along their separate new paths, supporting one another without fault, never betraying their youthful vow, never abandoning their innermost hopes. Amid mortal bustle and quiet expectation, these two teenagers who grew from society's bottom brought their beloved elders, steadily stepping toward the bright future they had imagined. Chapter 7 Years of Devoted Progress, Growth Through Mutual Devotion. London's seasons shifted mild and quiet, shedding the town's bitter bleakness, greenery persisting year-round, ordinary warmth ever-present. A full year had passed since they traveled to London and began their new lives. Over those 12 months, Alex advanced steadily in his career from rookie store manager to mature operations administrator. Leah immersed herself in academic study, refining her literary expertise, growing more outstanding and resolute with each passing day. They each advanced in their own fields, nourishing one another in mutual devotion, growing brighter and more certain side by side. Under Alex's careful management, the new London store secured firm roots in its neighborhood. In its opening phase, competing long-standing local supermarkets held dominant market share, leaving the new shop with sparse foot traffic and an unestablished reputation, facing intense competitive pressure. Most comparable new stores struggled with poor business for months after opening. All observers doubted the young manager from the small town could turn the tide, watching with skepticism. But Alex never let adversity defeat him. Raised amid hardship, he excelled at rooting down and growing amid difficulty. He conducted in-depth research on local residents' shopping habits, refined his product range, retaining essential daily goods while adding refined snacks, fresh fruit and vegetables, and household supplies catering to urban residents' needs, balancing affordability and quality. He abandoned rigid industry operational models, committing to honest business and thoughtful service, demanding all staff treat every customer sincerely and guarantee thorough after-sales support. He maintained uncompromising standards for merchandise, personally inspecting near-expiry goods every day, replacing damaged products promptly, ensuring neat shelves and fresh stock. Toward customers he remained gentle and patient, attentive to elderly and young visitors alike, offering sincere service. Local residents gradually remembered this reliable, tender young manager, more and more choosing his shop, foot traffic stabilizing steadily, reputation climbing continuously, turnover rising month by month. Within a single year, the supermarket became the most popular, highest-rated chain store in the neighborhood. Headquarters senior management witnessed all his ability and dedication. Unlike other young managers prone to impetuosity and greed, Alex remained steady, down-to-earth, focused on refining details and building long-term reputation, balancing responsibility and big-picture thinking. Headquarters granted him an exceptional promotion, inviting him to oversee operational coordination for multiple new London stores, significantly raising his salary and opening boundless career prospects. Once his finances stabilized, Alex immediately upgraded his family's living conditions, moving into a brighter, more livable apartment with ample sunlight, surrounded by lush greenery, complete amenities ideal for grandmother's recovery and rest. He took grandmother for regular physical checkups, sustained medical conditioning, and attended meticulously to her diet and daily life. After years of constant illness, grandmother's health improved dramatically in stable, comfortable surroundings, her rheumatism and bronchitis flaring far less frequently, her complexion warmer and rosier, her face filled with more smiles each passing day. The days of scraping by on minimal food, scrimping for every penny in town faded completely. Grandmother no longer needed to worry about survival or endure harsh winters and summers in poor health, finally enjoying peaceful, worry-free old age. Watching grandmother calm and joyful, Alex's heart overflowed with comfort. Every youthful vow to protect her had been fulfilled through his own hard work. Meanwhile, Leah continued forward without pause on her academic journey, blooming step by step. 1 year of university stripped away the timid shyness of the town girl, replacing it with gentle, bookish intellect. Her major grades consistently ranked top of the year, multiple academic papers collected by the faculty, winning successive university scholarships, earning deep admiration from tutors and professors alike. No longer confined to dry textbook theory, she ventured beyond rigid exam-focused learning, spending countless hours in the university's vast literary library reading modern European and American prose, healing literature, and niche poetry collections. Vast volumes of writing nourished her style and enriched her heart, her prose shedding youthful crudeness to carry quiet insight into human life and gentle inner strength. In spare time, she began writing short healing essays independently, recording tiny beautiful moments of daily life, reflections on her growth, and the city's soft evening breezes. Thanks to her solid writing foundation and delicate empathy, her first campus essay was published in the university's literary journal, her gentle, healing style resonating with countless teachers and students. After that, she wrote constantly, producing successive high-quality short works published in youth literary magazines across the city, slowly building a small loyal readership. Her tutor recognized her creative talent fully, inviting her to join a specialized literary creation project, guiding her to polish her writing and broaden her creative horizons, encouraging her to hold fast to her passion and become a writer combining literary erudition and gentle warmth. While advancing academically and creatively, Leah continued to care devotedly for grandfather. The initial awkwardness of moving to London faded entirely. Grandfather fully adapted to the city's slow pace of life, walking neighborhood parks each morning, drinking tea and chatting with neighbors in the afternoon, tending flowers and reading on the balcony, days relaxed and peaceful. With consistent rest and careful care, grandfather's chronic mild illnesses improved, his vitality stronger, no trace of the haggard anxiety of his tongue years remaining, a soft smile lingering on his face every day. The two teenagers continued to run full speed along their separate paths, independent yet connected, supporting and fulfilling one another. Freed from the town's poverty, scarcity, and quiet timidity, they no longer needed to stress over survival or fear an uncertain future, with the space to care for family and chase their passions, and time for gentle companionship. Daily togetherness unfolded in slow, quiet rhythm. Weekdays brought separate busy schedules, exchanging soft good mornings at dawn, sharing trivial daily stories in spare evening moments. Alex snagged time amid packed work schedules to read Leah's new essays carefully, word by word, silently rejoicing in her growth. Leah thought of his rushing labor late at night while writing, warmth fueling her drive to pen stories of their mutual salvation and fulfillment. As night fell, London shed its daytime bustle, soft breezes sweeping the streets. After finishing their respective work, they always met without fail, walking slowly along tree-lined avenues lit by street lamps. No forced small talk, no need to feign strength. Alex shed the pressure of coordinating store operations to share operational challenges and breakthroughs. Leah recounted academic seminar gains, creative inspirations, and confusion. They spoke of present peace and future hopes, of the gentle beauty now within reach. Their conversations no longer centered on hardship and desperate escape as in years past. Every casual chat wove ordinary mortal warmth and quiet stability. Time settled silently, love ripening quietly. Years of mutual salvation and quiet companionship had woven this affection deep into their bones, surpassing youthful fleeting crushes to become steady, profound, unwavering devotion. They had long become irreplaceable in one another's lives, faint light amid despair, strength amid growth, the destination of every remaining year. One early autumn evening, sunset spread peach-pink glow across the Thames, rippling water shimmering soft and gorgeous. They sat side by side, on a riverside bench, evening breezes carrying mist and floral fragrance brushing their cheeks, the surroundings quiet and romantic. Alex turned to gaze at the girl beside him, sunset light spilling over her soft hair, highlighting her gentle, bright features. Years of growth had transformed her from the timid girl clutching a freight backpack, as full of quiet longing, into confident, insightful, gentle, resolute young woman, living exactly the life she had dreamed of. His eyes brimmed with unchanging sincerity and tenderness, his palm resting lightly over hers, warm and steady. After years of quiet restraint, he no longer worried about wealth gaps or uncertain futures. Now he possessed the ability, security, and lifelong resolve to care for his girl through every peaceful year. Leah, his voice low and gentle, wrapped in the evening wind's softness, carrying years of unspoken deep affection. From Blacktown's fog to London's sunset breezes, we endured every cold winter together and fulfilled every youthful promise. He tightened his grip on her hand, gaze steady, every word heartfelt. Once all I strove for was to take you away from hardship. Now I realize what I truly want is never just a city or a stable life, it's to have you beside me year after year, every sunset, every starry night, every perfect moment. Be my girlfriend. Leah's heart surged violently, warm tears flooding her eyes instantly. She turned to look at the boy beside her, steady and gentle, shedding youthful thinness to carry the pulse of years of experience, yet the tenderness and adoration in his eyes remained unchanged through all time. Every quiet afternoon together in town, every cold night supporting each other, every moment of mutual salvation amid despair, every year of quiet perseverance flooded her mind at once. She had waited for this confession for years, not a hasty compromise, not tentative testing, but the steady mutual devotion of two lonely souls weathering all hardship together. Tears rolled down her cheeks, yet she smiled bright, nodding firmly, her voice soft yet resolute, carrying years of hidden affection. Yes. It's always been you, only you. No grand ceremony, no ornate words, no crowds watching, only the Thames evening wind, sunset glow, and two hearts weathered by hardship finally embracing in perfect peace. The quiet love the boy had hidden for years bloomed fully amid London's soft evening breeze. Chapter 8 Mortal Warmth, Companionship Through Every Year. After confessing their love, their life bloomed with quiet, steady tenderness woven into daily trivialities. Alex earned a senior management role in London's retail chain through hard work, with stable high income to support the whole family. Successful yet humble, he spared no time for his elders and Leah amid busy work. He took the two seniors out for walks and exhibitions every spare minute, making up for their harsh old days. He memorized Leah's likes, fears and habits, soothing her writing and academic anxiety, and shared every joy of her literary achievements. Leah thrived in literature and academics. Her essays were collected in London youth anthologies, and she claimed top scholarships and outstanding student honors. Free of youthful inferiority, she became gentle, independent and bright. She tended all household chores to ease Alex's workplace pressure, warming his late overtime meals and comforting his career bottlenecks. The grandparents lived a peaceful old age. Grandma's chronic ailments rarely flared. Grandpa laid down lifelong labor to enjoy daily strolls, reading and chatting with friends. Escaping Blacktown's poverty and hardship, they lived comfortably cared for by the young couple. On sunny weekends, the whole family drove to London's outskirts to embrace pastoral scenery. On rainy days, they stayed home drinking tea and chatting under warm lights. Every night, Alex and Leah walked along the Thames, watching sunset dye the river golden. All past hardships were merely preludes to their present happiness. They thanked fate for meeting each other in their lowest moments, lighting each other's lonely youth. In late autumn London, Alex held Leah's hand tightly. All scenery in the world can't compare to you staying by my side year after year. You're my salvation and lifelong destination. Leah smiled softly. Your lifelong companionship outshines all mortal beauty. You are my whole fulfillment. Youthful affection turned into lifelong company. All past suffering faded away, leaving mild London breezes and permanent mutual warmth. Chapter 9 Starlight resting in embrace, smooth roads ahead for the rest of life. 2 years passed quickly. Leah graduated with top honors from Nottingham Literature and became a university teaching assistant. Drawing on her bitter teenage experience, she encouraged struggling students while publishing healing novels and growing into a famous young writer. Alex was promoted to London Operations Director of the supermarket group, with a prosperous career and generous salary. He never lost his kindness, still taking good care of elders and doting on Leah. Their days were peaceful and warm, watching morning mist and sunset glow hand in hand, sharing soft trivialities through 4 seasons. The grandparents grew healthier, enjoying slow, easy retired life. One sunny weekend, the whole family returned to Blacktown for the first time in years. They wandered riverside paths and the old supermarket where they met. Once suffocating poverty had become precious growth meadows. 2 destitute teenagers had rewritten their fate through mutual support and perseverance. By dusk, they left the town behind. Back in London, Alex knelt on the lit balcony with a delicate diamond ring. I once only dreamed of escaping Blacktown to London, but I realize now I only chased you. I endured all scarcity to stand here and promise you a lifetime of peace. Leah Mason, will you marry me? Tears filled Leah's eyes as she nodded firmly. I accept. We'll walk through everything side by side for the rest of our lives. Starlight wrapped around their embrace, marking the promise of a smooth, gentle future. Chapter 10 Evening Wind as matchmaker, walking side by side until old age. After marriage, Leah's self-doubt vanished completely under Alex's constant tenderness. Every workday, they squeezed a 30-minute cafe date to share trivialities and relieve fatigue. Every dusk, Alex waited for her at the school gate, and they went home together. Alex took charge of all kitchen work to let Leah rest after work. After dinner, they chatted with elders before taking evening walks on quiet residential streets. Alex no longer hid workplace pressure, and Leah poured out all writing troubles to him. They were each other's most trusted confidants. Store expansion keeps me exhausted lately, Alex said softly. Leah stroked his palms. Oh calluses, don't push yourself too hard. You don't have to stay strong all the time with me. He pulled her into a warm hug, all weariness fading away in each other's company. At night, Leah rode by the bay window while Alex handled documents beside her. He massaged her stiff shoulders and forced her to rest when she stayed up late. They slept intertwined every night, Alex's arm always wrapped around her waist to give her full security. Weekends were filled with family trips to view seasonal scenery or quiet indoor leisure on rainy days. Cold and decisive at work, Alex was infinitely indulgent to Leah's petty tempers and whims. Leah took good care of household details to heal his lonely teenage scars. Their love relied on silent care rather than grand romance, free of quarrels and cold wars. Occasionally they visited Blacktown, recalling their rainy first encounter. Time turned teenage crush into steady lifelong love. The grandparents enjoyed healthy, carefree old age. On New Year's Eve, warm lights and a full feast filled their home. On the balcony, Alex held Leah tightly. All my happiness comes from meeting you in Blacktown's fog. Leah nestled in his arms. You pulled me out of desolation, and all cold winters had passed, leaving endless warm springs ahead. Two souls who struggled through hardship together gained complete peace, with evening wind and starlight witnessing their everlasting companionship. Chapter 11 Evening Wind finds its home, every year with you. After their spring wedding, they bought a warm minimalist house on London's green outskirts, with a flower-filled balcony as Leah's writing sanctuary. Alex arranged the sunniest soft bedrooms for the two elders, filling every corner with thoughtful warmth. Each morning, Alex woke early to hold the sleeping Leah, then prepared customized breakfast for every family member. After meals, they split chores in tacit harmony. On workdays, Alex sent Leah to campus and met her for short cafe dates at noon, picking her up faithfully at dusk. Back home, Alex cooked sweet soup and tidied the house while Leah relaxed on the sofa. At night, they took walks to talk freely about work and life, then stayed together by the bay window. She wrote. He handled work, quietly accompanying each other late into the night. They slept tightly, embraced every midnight. Sunny weekends brought family countryside trips, rainy days meant indoor tea, reading and movie time. Alex's softness was only reserved for Leah, while Leah soothed his inner weariness with delicate care. Their love lay in trivial daily thoughtfulness, gentle and enduring. Sometimes they returned to Blacktown, looking back on their first meeting with calm gratitude. The grandparents remained healthy and cheerful, enjoying a peaceful old age surrounded by family. Epilogue Warm mortal years, endless tenderness. Years passed gently in London without harsh cold. Alex stood at the top of retail management yet stayed humble and kind. Leah's healing novels won nationwide praise, and she continued encouraging students with her real growth story. The four lived a quiet four-season routine, warm breakfasts in the morning, gentle family gatherings at night, relaxing trips on weekends. Past hardship became precious memories, and mutual salvation bloomed into lifelong companionship. On New Year's Eve, Alex wrapped Leah's shoulder under bright city lights. Every joy in my life belongs to you. Leah leaned against him with bright eyes. Meeting you in youth is my greatest blessing. They weathered half a lifetime of wind and rain, then spent the rest in ordinary warmth. All wandering found a home, all sincere devotion reaped sweet rewards. Blacktown's bitter past faded, and London's soft evening wind accompanied them every year, with someone waiting for warm porridge at dusk and walking beside them through every sunset.